Everyone laughed when they saw him digging through the trash behind the massive aerospace complex, his hands black with grease and dust, his clothes torn at the elbows. If you're watching this story right now, don't blink, because by the end, what you believe about people, success, and destiny will never be the same. And if stories like this touch your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because sometimes one story can change how you see the world. They called him Rocket Rubbish. Some guards mocked him openly, others ignored him like he didn't exist. Every morning before sunrise, he pushed his squeaky cart along the fence, collecting discarded metal, broken wires, empty coffee cups, and crumpled blueprints that employees threw away without a second thought. His name was Elias, but almost no one knew that. To them, he was just another poor man surviving on scraps. What no one knew was that Elias didn't collect trash because he wanted to. He collected it because it reminded him of who he used to be. Years ago, Elias had stood inside clean laboratories, wearing a white coat, designing propulsion systems that could change the future of space travel. He had been a gifted engineer, the kind professors spoke about with pride. He dreamed of touching the stars, of building rockets that would carry humanity farther than ever before. But dreams can shatter quickly when life turns cruel. A single accident changed everything. A lab explosion he didn't cause. A scapegoat he didn't deserve to be. His name was erased from research papers, his career destroyed overnight. Lawsuits drained his savings, stress took his wife's life through illness, and grief swallowed what remained. By the time the truth surfaced years later, it was too late. The world had moved on without him. Now, the same company that once praised him was building the most expensive rocket in human history, a $5 billion marvel meant to carry satellites and human hopes to Mars. Elias watched from behind the fence every day. He studied the engineers as they walked in, overheard conversations, memorized technical jargon whispered near the dumpsters. He read discarded documents at night under a flickering streetlight. Not because he planned to return, but because engineering was still beating inside his heart. The launch day arrived like a festival. News trucks lined the roads, helicopters hovered above, reporters smiled into cameras. This rocket was supposed to make history. Inside the control room, tension buzzed in the air as the countdown began. Engineers stared at monitors, executives stood proudly behind them, and investors watched from glass rooms with champagne in hand. Then something went wrong. At T-minus 30 minutes, alarms screamed through the control center. Screens flashed red. A critical fault in the propulsion system appeared, something no simulation had predicted. Engineers typed frantically, voices overlapping, panic rising. The launch director ordered a hold. Millions of dollars were burning every second the rocket stood fueled and waiting. They tried everything. Rebooted systems. Ran diagnostics. Called senior experts. Nothing worked. The rocket refused to stabilize. If they aborted completely, it would mean months of delay and massive financial loss. Worse, it would shatter public trust. Outside, Elias stood frozen as he saw the flashing lights through the windows. He knew that pattern. His chest tightened. He had seen this failure mode before years ago, during early experimental designs that were never officially published. Without thinking, he dropped his cart and ran toward the gate. The guards stopped him immediately, laughing at first. "Not today, trash man," one of them said. "Big people problems inside." But Elias didn't shout. He didn't beg. He calmly said words that made the guards hesitate. Technical words. Specific ones. He described the fault in detail, naming the exact valve, the pressure imbalance, the feedback loop that would cause catastrophic failure seconds after ignition. The laughter died. A supervisor was called. Then another. Within minutes, a junior engineer, pale with stress, stood face to face with Elias. Skeptical but desperate, he listened. Elias grabbed a stick and started drawing diagrams on the concrete, explaining the flaw in the fix. The engineer's eyes widened. This matches our data," he whispered. Security wanted to throw Elias out. Executives hesitated. Time was bleeding away. Finally, someone made the hardest decision of their career: let the trash picker into the control room. As Elias walked inside, conversations stopped. Clean floors, glowing screens, powerful people staring at him in disbelief. He didn't belong here anymore, but his mind did. He went straight to the console, pointing, instructing, correcting. His hands shook, not from fear, but from memory. This was his world. Engineers followed his instructions, step by step. Adjust the valve. Override the sensor. Rebalance the pressure sequence. Silence filled the room. Then, green lights. The fault disappeared. The countdown resumed. Outside, the rocket roared to life, flames lighting up the sky. The ground shook. Cheers erupted. The $5 billion rocket soared upward, perfect and powerful, disappearing into the clouds like a dream reclaimed. No one cheered louder than the people inside the control room, but their eyes were on Elias. Executives demanded his name. Reporters rushed toward him. The same company that had erased him now stood before him, speechless. When the CEO asked how a trash picker knew so much, Elias answered quietly, "Because I helped build the foundation you're standing on." The truth came out within days. Old records. Witnesses. Proof of his innocence. The story exploded across the world. Headlines screamed his name. The man everyone ignored became the man who saved the mission. Elias was offered wealth, titles, apologies. He accepted some, refused others. He didn't want revenge. He wanted purpose. He returned to aerospace, not as a symbol, but as a teacher, mentoring young engineers so no brilliance would ever be thrown away again. And every now and then, he still walked past the dumpsters, not to collect trash, but to remind himself where humility lives. So if the world ever judges you by what it sees on the surface, remember this story. Sometimes the person everyone ignores is carrying the solution to the biggest problem of all. If this story inspired you, like the video and subscribe to the channel, because the next story might remind you of your own hidden strength.